Hello my loves, I am Brandon Alter and welcome back to your Numinous Tarot forecast for the week of April 4th, 2019. So this week, Mars went into Gemini. So what does that mean? Well, Mars is the planet that rules Aries. So it's important to be talking about it since we're now pretty much waist deep in Aries season. And Mars, if we think about Aries and what rules Aries, vitality, energy, sexuality. You know, Mars is literally about how you take action in the world. And in Gemini, how we take action is through our intellect. So Mars in Gemini is a very interesting placement. It's an interesting transit to have because what it means is that we're going to be connecting more intellectually than otherwise. It means that like the sex happens only because you're really into the other person's mind. So I just want you to be aware of this Mars and Gemini energy this, not this week really, but you know, this whole month, because it'll probably be in the sign for about a month or so. And it's really about feeling this almost burst of creativity and communication in the mind. Remember, Gemini is literally the sign of the mind, right? And we think Gemini duality, the two sides of the brain. So Mars is really kind of like stirring up a lot of energy and vitality in your mind. So that's very exciting, and I would say keep a notepad nearby for the next month because you want to capture these ideas, these lines, these quotes, these insights, or even like moments in your life where you're like, I don't want to forget this, write it down. It's a really good opportunity for that, kind of keeping track. So, the other piece of information, astrologically, that we've got going on is a beautiful new moon in Aries tomorrow. Or technically, like, super, super late tonight, like after midnight for my West Coast people, and like kind of 3, 4 in the morning for my East Coast people, and for everybody else, do the math. But, you know, new moons are opportunities to initiate, to begin again. And if we remember, we were working with the Ace of Pentacles last week, which was all about new beginnings. And I've really been feeling a lot around ritual. Especially with the new moon in Aries, it's a great time to start a new relationship with how you honor these moons and how you honor these natural cycles. So what is ritual, right? Ritual is a spiritual play that you put on for yourself. It's as broad as that. You make something up that makes you feel connected. And the more you do it, the more you feel the power of it. I always say ritual is residual. So the more you can start to stay consistent with how you honor these moons, the more momentum and magic and power is going to build. And the ritual can be literally anything. It can be putting your crystals outside. It can be doing 15 minutes of breath work. It can be taking a bath. It can be writing a poem. It can be anything that gets you into that spiritual space where you are present and allowing yourself to experience the magic of the new moon. And remember, the magic of the new moon is that we can't see it in the sky. We only can feel it. So take some time tonight or tomorrow while that portal is open and see what the new moon in Aries is trying to teach you, trying to grow in you, initiating. A new moon in Aries is like double start. Double initiation, right? Aries is the start of the zodiac, the leader, moving forwards. Oftentimes moving forwards without even having the idea of where to go next. And that's okay because it comes. One sentence comes after the next. And the new moon is initiating a new emotional cycle, a new way to connect to your heart. And your heart is also mirrored in nature, right? Like when you take a walk in the park, or you look up at the night sky, or even if you play with your dog, there's something in your heart that opens, that's reflected. Nature gives us back ourselves again. So I would say, if there's something that's coming to you around nature, even if it's just getting outside or cracking the window, breathing that cool night air, lighting a candle, find your ritual. And the reason why I'm blathering on and on about ritual so much is because the card I pulled, yes, I still am pulling cards, is the star. And the star is the card that invites us into healing. It is the balm after a crisis, after something has broken apart. After the heartache comes the heart expansion. And so I think there's something in the new moon ritual that can initiate a new cycle of healing for you. At its most basic level, the star is about self-care, tending to our wounds, recognizing that where we are wounded, where we are traumatized, is a threshold or a gateway into our potential, into our power, into the adventure that we came here to take. So I encourage you to take some time in this new moon portal to really feel into what's still needing to be healed and how can you commit to that healing, perhaps in a new way. Maybe you've reached the end of a cycle. Maybe the breath work's taken you as far as it can take you for now. Maybe it's time to get into the body. Maybe it's time to get to yoga. Maybe it's time to be writing, to be healing through your creativity. I would say that what I'm feeling collectively with Death and then Ace of Pentacles and the Star 1 week after the other is that we need to acknowledge what is over. What has truly ended for you? What is dead? And are you carrying around the skeleton? Are you carrying around the ashes for no reason? It's time to let it go. What needs to be cremated in your life, in your heart, in your spirit, in your mind? And where are you going to spread those ashes? Meditate on that. And spend some time in your heart. And as always, it is an honor and a privilege to connect with you. I love you all so much for sharing your time and receiving these messages, and I look forward to seeing you next week.